Are you a perfectionist? Do you feel you are a natural genius? Do you consider yourself a rugged individualist? Are you the expert among your peers? Do people consider you as some sort of superhero? If you fit into any of these categories, then there's a high chance you might be suffering from a condition called the imposter syndrome. And today on the Afro Millennial, we are going to discuss this condition and especially how it affects people of color. So the imposter syndrome is feeling like you are a fraud or you don't belong somewhere, you don't deserve to be somewhere, even though your performance is adequate and likely above average. So let's say you're in a job and you're doing so well, you're getting good reviews, assessments are coming out great and all that, but you feel like maybe it was by chance that you are there. You don't think you deserve the praise you are getting. You just feel like one day everything is going to blow up and everybody's going to find out that you can't really do the things they say you can do. So that's general sense of what imposter syndrome is. But let's listen to what these people have to say about what the imposter syndrome is.
Even after writing 11 books and winning several prestigious awards, Maya Angelou couldn't escape the nagging doubt that she hadn't really earned her accomplishments. Albert Einstein experienced something similar. He described himself as an involuntary swindler whose work didn't deserve as much attention as it had received. Accomplishments at the level of Angelou's or Einstein's are rare, but their feeling of fraudulence is extremely common. Why can't so many of us shake feelings that we haven't earned our accomplishments, or that our ideas and skills aren't worthy of others' attention?
People talk about imposter syndrome. Sometimes they say, okay, I'm a fraud, and it's only a matter of minutes until everybody finds out. And that feeling is actually pretty rare. What's much more common, if you look at the research of Basima Tufik, is imposter thoughts. Everyday doubts about, am I as good as other people think I am? Am I ready for this role that other people are encouraging me to take on? Can I afford to quit my job and try becoming an entrepreneur?
Somebody has imposter syndrome, it usually means that their competence is higher than their confidence.
So the imposter syndrome can stem from many causes. It can be from pressure. When you were growing up, you had a lot of pressure from your parents. So strict parents telling you have to excel at this, you have to do your best, you have to do this. So in your mind, you have to do everything perfectly. And then you grow up and then you're doing everything perfectly. But then you think, that's not even me. Keep belittling your achievements, right? So that's one cause, pressure from parents. Another could be personality traits. Maybe you're a creative person and you do well in many fields. And then you find yourself in a high performance environment. And then you realize you don't fit in. Nobody knows. You are just the one who feels that you'd rather be doing something creative. You are doing very well at your role, but it feels like you don't belong there. So that's another cause or how imposter syndrome can show up. Then there's also family situations. You might be the firstborn, and then you have younger ones looking up to you. So you feel you have to do well, you have to do well. And then you are doing well, and deep inside you're thinking, that's not even me. I'm supposed to be doing something else. And I'll be found out that this is not me, and I'm just doing this because I have to. Or maybe you're the only child and you think you cannot disappoint your parents, so you keep doing well and you find yourself in very high performance positions that you think you don't belong to, but you're just doing because you have to. Or also you have big shoes to fill. Your parents or older siblings have done, or other people in the family, older people in the family have done so much that you think you have to match up to it, and all your life you are just doing that. But you find yourself in a field that you feel like you'll be found out. You'll be found out one day. And also, if you have poor upbringing, you're from a poor background, and you do so well in life and you get to some level, you feel like all these people had privileged backgrounds. I don't belong here. One day they are going to find out I don't belong here, and then I'll lose everything I've built. So all these things are some causes of why a person might feel like an imposter. Also, one important cause is having to compete for a seat at the table. So if you are the only minority in a group or in your role, and then you feel like you have to compete with the majority for a position or for a seat at the table to be heard, it can be very daunting because you enter a room and you're the only person who looks like you there and you feel like you don't belong. In this case, some people say, you can't call it imposter syndrome. That would be mislabeling it, right? they think it's more like you are really an imposter because even the people in the room don't make you feel welcome because it's like they are like, who is this person? So let's watch these videos to see what people think about this.
Somebody need to hear it. You don't have imposter syndrome. You are an imposter. The system is not built for you. The position is not built for you. You are not meant to be in the position that you are in. You are an imposter. I'm so sorry that you have to go through the isolation and the feelings that come with that. But the sooner you accept that you are an imposter, the easier it will be to navigate.
You guys will use the term imposter syndrome, but it makes sense to feel like an imposter in an unwelcoming environment. Imposter syndrome is the aspect of not feeling welcome or not feeling like enough in that environment, right?
So for example, I have been feeling imposter syndrome for a while now. I didn't even know what the name was till I moved to the US here. The main thing, these videos drew my attention to something I hadn't thought of before. It felt like I didn't feel that way. I never felt that way back again. Yes, maybe I had imposter syndrome, got recognition for things that I did. And sometimes I felt like, ooh, maybe it was just by luck. And yes, that's imposter syndrome. But here it's different. When you get into the room, people tend to look at you because you are the only one who looks like you do in the room, right? Most of the times. And then when that happens, I can't read people's minds. I don't know what they are thinking, but from their faces, maybe I'm making things up. From their faces, I feel like, who is this person? This person does not belong here. This face does not belong here. And then in that case, from what the videos are saying, it's no longer imposter syndrome. You're actually an imposter in the room. I could be wrong, but let me know what you think in the comment section. Imposter syndrome has no cure, right? So the only thing you can do is to work on yourself. And that's a bit hard to do. It's easier said than done. I'll still share. I'm still struggling with these feelings of not belonging. So I'm a work in progress, and I'll share what I've learned from doing research and reading about the condition. I've learned to set some things I'd like to share in this video. So it's not like an expert opinion. I'm telling you to do this or do that. It's just something that I think is helping me. And maybe it will help you too if you are suffering from imposter syndrome. So the first thing is to acknowledge your feelings of inadequacy and try to understand them, right? So nobody is perfect. If you feel you're inadequate at something, it's highly likely that other people around you are struggling with those feelings, but they are putting up some show of confidence, right? So you also just do what you can do. If you're praised for it, accept it. You did it. It's not by luck. You worked hard for it. You put in a lot of work. So acknowledge that, yes, I'm feeling inadequate, but I've been able to put some work into it. And this is what came out. So that's my reward for it. So accept it and move from there. Also, you can build connections with people who are like you, people who are more like you, and share your experiences. Talking about it helps. I have friends who I talk to. I go like, I went to this conference and I felt this way, or I did this presentation somewhere. I spoke to these people and I felt this way, and they shared their experiences. So it helps to know that people are also going through the same things you are going through, and you learn how they manage it. It helps you think of ways to navigate such situations when you find yourself in them. Also, challenge doubts and attempt to overcome them. If you doubt yourself at something, so there are people who think when you have imposter syndrome, you can leverage that to build on yourself. And if you doubt your abilities at something, then try to get better at that thing. And that's a plus, right? Because you'll end up being the best at that thing because you put so much effort into it. Even though people don't even think you're inadequate, but you're putting in so much effort that you turn out to be the best at doing it. Also, avoid comparing yourself to others. Everybody is different. Everybody does things differently. So if you try to compare yourself to others, it will just make the situation worse because you're putting yourself against someone who has a different story, a different background, different reasons for why they do things. So you're just being unfair to yourself if you keep comparing yourself to others. So just avoid doing that. For your response to imposter syndrome, you can do two things. First, you can use it and become a high achiever. Use it to your advantage and become a high achiever because you keep doubting your ability. So you keep working on yourself, and you become such a high achiever in your field because you've worked so much on yourself due to your feelings of inadequacy. That's a good thing, right? So That's what these people in these videos think.
In subjects that I really hated, that I used to fail, like mathematics and physics, when I got to uni, I went out of my way to actually ensure that I excel in them. I got A's in them, not just by praying, but by actually putting in the effort, looking for resources to ensure that I actually master the subjects, and I was able to. So I have a lot of proof to show myself that I've actually been able to excel at even things that I didn't even like. Even now, if I find myself in a challenging situation, I always remind myself that I've done it once and I can always do it over and over again.
Jess, is that there are actually some surprising benefits of having those imposter thoughts. Basima finds, she studies medical professionals, investment professionals, military cadets, students, that when you have more frequent imposter thoughts, they actually can become fuel to motivate you to persist toward your goals. And the reason that happens is there's a gap between what other people think you're capable of and what you feel prepared for. And you realize, okay, I've got to put in extra effort, and I've got to be better at listening to other people and learning from them in order to close the gap. So Basima's advice is, when you feel like an imposter, you should recognize that other people think you're pretty amazing, and now, all right, let's live up to those expectations.
Also, you can let it discourage you from doing things, right? So you can let imposter syndrome get you down and discourage you from doing things. And unfortunately, that's where I've found myself in the past few years, right? I keep myself back from doing things. Sometimes I have good ideas, but I go, everybody knows this, but nobody knows it. It's something that you've thought about. And even if you say it and somebody knows it, yes, you said it. The person, they knew it already, are confirming what they knew, But I tend to just keep quiet about it and go like, just common knowledge. And then later find out that, oh, they didn't even know it. So just like, that's how I chose. I handled it, which is bad. And I'm trying to improve myself and learn to speak out more and do things, work to get my imposter syndrome on my side to help me move forward. I have one question. So with the notion that imposter syndrome is not really imposter syndrome, but it's really people making you feel like you're an imposter, what do you think all these efforts on DEI, diversity and inclusion efforts, do you think it's putting people in odd places without getting those people already in the room prepared to receive such people? So if we are having DEI efforts put women in men-dominated fields, or people of color in occupations dominated by white people, without prepping the other side to receive these people, do you think or is it just an innate thing that they show? Is there a way to prepare them to receive, so that people coming in won't feel like they just came there because of DEI and not because they belong there? Because that's how sometimes I've had people share their experiences. They feel they are made to feel like only got to a certain level because, oh, that's just affirmative action. You are here because someone brought you here. You are in this position because your skin color is this tone, or you have this skin color. I think it's let me know in the comment section if you think that that's one thing that the people in power, people in authority should be looking at when working on these DEI efforts. So let me know what your experiences have been with imposter syndrome in your career, in your education. How has it affected you? Have you been like me and let it bring you down? Or have you been like the people we saw in the video and let it uplift you to do better at whatever you do? Yes, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and that you relate to the experiences I shared, or someone who relates to these experiences, and I hope this video will help you understand your feelings of inadequacy and help you put them to the best use, or manage them in the best way you can. So please remember to subscribe to my channel for more content that's geared at building us up as young people of color. And I hope this was impactful. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.